Welcome back to episode 2 of Board Games Direct, the week-long extravaganza where we show you everything new and exciting in the world of table games. It's the event equivalent of being behind the bike shed back at school where all the cool kids hang out and have a smoke. But they're not, strictly speaking, cool, and they're not smoking, they're discussing optimal connections through Belper. In today's video, we are getting rid of the board and we're focusing on the wide world of card games. These are the kinds of games that you can pop in your bag when you go to the pub, but there's also a few of these that are chunky enough to be the crown jewel of your big game night. We've got racing games, fishing games, wrestling games. These cards have come a long way since poker. Oh, but before we begin, a tiny little bit of housekeeping. It's important to mention that these are paid previews, not reviews, although we did hand-pick the games for this showcase to put in front of your waiting eyes. And also, if you want any more details on any of the games in this showcase, then check the link in the description. It'll take you to a website that has all kinds of salient, juicy little details that we might otherwise miss in the preview. Alright, that is quite enough of that. Let's card games.
The first game we have today in our card games video is Trend by Oink Games, a teeny little box with a game about chairs. I love a game about something that's really, really niche, and this being specifically about designer chairs is tickling the pickle immediately.
Yes.
Now, this is a game for 3 to 5 players. We're cheating slightly by demoing it with just 2, but the way this game works is pretty simple. I mean,
Super simple.
Just have a little play of it as we go.
Yeah,
so
sure.
the way it works is you're going to have a hand of these chairs, and effectively what you want to do is try and end up with a hand that is absolutely full of exactly one type of chair.
Yeah.
So I'm actually already doing pretty well.
Oh, wow.
I've got 5 of these white shell chairs.
What a lucky boy.
I am a lucky boy indeed. The way I'm going to actually seal the deal though and win the game and smash this boy into bits is by getting rid of the other chairs.
Yeah, only one chair can remain.
On your turn, you are going to be, hopefully, discarding some cards that match this card here. So I can either discard a red card or a square chair card. So in this instance, I've got this black squared chair, sling chair, and I'm just going to discard that. And then I get to take something. I have to take something.
You must.
Unfortunately, there aren't any chairs here that actually are chairs that I want, because you know what I want. I want this type of chair. So what I'm going to do, for reasons that will become obvious soon, is I'm going to take this one here.
Ooh, very nice.
This black shell chair into my hand, and then that's going to get filled out. Now, Tom, on your turn, what's going on with you?
Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to discard a card as well, but I'm going to get rid of 2 cards at once, because if you match the exact type and colour of chair, then you can get rid of as many as you want from your hand. So that's a way of accelerating the pace of getting rid of cards.
And that's why, when I picked up that chair last round, if you remember from about 30 seconds ago, I took that, because now I have 3 of these, which means if we end up with a bin that has this chair on top, I can get all of them, rid of them straight away.
You're in the money.
In one go, getting me closer to that perfect hand of just one chair.
Yeah.
But here's the rub.
Oh.
And it's a rub on your buttocks because of chairs.
Ooh.
When you only have one type of chair in hand, you're out. You're like, I'm done.
You're finished.
You're finished. And you get points squared based on that. So if I manage to get 5 chairs, 5 times 5, that's 25. I can do my numbers.
That's so
Thank
quick.
you to the Video Game Slay the Spire for teaching me maths. And then we keep going until one person is left.
Yeah, and at that point, the one person that's left doesn't get any points at all. They just get none. They've got a bad, stinky handful of wrong chairs.
It's a bad situation. The other way you can end up in a bad situation is if you go all the way through this deck.
Yeah.
If you're all being greedy players trying to get massive hands of chairs and you're not finding the ones you need, then time's up and a bunch of you have walked away with absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's a really interesting flow to the game because you do have to actually follow trends. You have to make sure that you are picking up chairs from the market because you're doing that always. You're only sort of like treading water with always taking cards into your hand. So you've got to follow those trends. You've got to make sure you've got the right things to discard because if not, you're just going to be drawing cards on the top of the deck and you're getting who knows what kind of chair.
And you can easily end up in a situation where 2 of you are trying to collect exactly the same type of designer chair and both of you aren't finding them because you have them already.
You're hoarding all the
chairs. That's that kind of like
a
little bit of Arboretum meanness in there.
But something that's
over very quickly, very easy, very pleasing. And honestly, again, as I said, a game where it's a niche, just a game about little chairs.
Game about chairs.
As somebody who recently collected way more chairs than I needed and I had to get rid of them, I can relate to this very quickly.
It's true. We're sitting on them right now.
I had 9 chairs in my house
Wow.
a few weeks ago.
That's too many chairs.
Got it down to like 6. Still too many.
Yeah, you're shedding your chairs.
I am. It's a chair shedding game.
Oh no! Matt's died. He's died a death, and everyone else has got to solve it.
Oh no!
Oh no!
That sounds like a problem that
was
can
really-
only be solved by a board game.
It was so convincing, wasn't it? The special effects on Shut Up and Sit Down.
I know.
Through the roof.
Do you know this isn't actually even blood? It's just a piece of felt shaped like blood. And do you know what else? We didn't make this. It came in the game.
Came with the game.
It's the first time I've ever seen a piece of felt on a table in front of me whilst playing board games, and it hasn't been put there by me.
This is Dying Message, also from Oink Games. It plays between 2 and 8, and it's a little bit in that field of Mysterium-style games or Deception, Murder in Hong Kong-style games, where one player is gonna be dead, as Matt just showed us, and everyone else has to figure out which of these little crooks over here did the crime. The way the game works is, Matt, you are going to roll, if you are the victim, you are going to roll this dice secretly.
Okay.
You're going to look at the letter, and then you're going to put it in this little box. You're going to hide it like that.
I have.
That dice has a letter on it which corresponds to one of these people who is going to be the murderer. And then what Matt will do is everyone around the table is going to close their eyes, and Matt will have 1 minute to create the murder scene, where you will take these cards that are essentially like signs or symbols or numbers or various objects, and you're going to try and assemble something around you that will point to one of these people having done the crime. So, for example, we have Zhang Bailey in here, an archaeology expert based in Turkey, is known as the Hand of the Goddess. So you might be using this hand card to point you towards the fact that this is the murderer. So you'll have a minute to arrange these cards, and you have a lot of freedom to do this. You can place the cards however you want. You can put them in the pool of blood.
So you can use the pool of blood as a sort of like a compass.
Exactly.
Or a map of sorts.
Right, precisely.
A sticky map.
A sticky, bloody map. You'll do all of that, you'll have a minute to do it, and then when your time is up, you'll make a shrieking or a grunting or some kind of
to
death
indicate
sound.
that somebody has been dead. So as an example, I rolled, surprise, surprise, secret, surprise, I rolled a B, which means I would have to say that Austin Williams, the slightly angry-looking firefighter, is going to be the person who was... Is it the victim or the perpetrator
The
again?
perpetrator.
Oh, not the perpetrator. That's my least favourite person in the murder
hit you
situation.
with this brick.
Okay, and then I think he's a firefighter. He has a keepsake mirror, and he suspiciously people seem to have fires around everywhere he goes. So I might have this. Like for the mirror situation,
beautiful.
being like he's got a keepsake mirror, and then I might say, oh, there's fires everywhere. So
That
I'll
looks
just
like
be
fire, and you can have it coming off of the blood so it's red,
and
looks
then
like
that
fire.
almost looks like a question mark. Now this is an actual question mark, I think. And then I go,
and then you dunk your head in the blood. Beautiful. So well done.
dunk it in, and then of course you'd work out fire mystery, mirror hand. It's got to be Austin Williams.
It's got to be. It couldn't be anyone else. At that point, everyone will say, simultaneously, once everyone agrees on who they think did it, they go, they did it. And then you either show us found peace, or
lost hope. I like the idea that a dead person has lost hope. It's like, I think they've got bigger problems going on.
You're then going to score points. If you're playing it cooperatively, then you'll score points based on that. But you can also play it competitively. And there's also a sort of smaller version for 2 or 3 players where you're trying to make the sort of most perfect murder scene possible.
And then I can see we've got a massive deck here of like different symbols and shapes, and then also a big old deck of potential murderers.
Yeah, and you only use a small section of these every game, so you've got to randomise. We had some that were actually kind of perfect there for our examples, but you're not going to always have the perfect cards. You have to sort of make up a fudge solution.
I think I made them perfect.
Yeah, well done. You did a
was
beautiful job.
A real struggle for me, but I really pulled through as being a super detective.
That's Dying Message from Oink, a game about being dead.
And then having a solution to that.
And having a solution to that.
Nature. What is it good for?
Animals.
Absolutely animals.
That's the one.
This is from North Star Studios. It is for 1 to 6 players, and it might look familiar. And if it does, that's because this is kind of a reimagining reboot of the Evolution game.
Yeah, you might remember Evolution or Oceans, the sort of semi-sequel. This is a kind of simplification and also sort of gathering of all of those different ideas into one game system. And
Because that had a lot of different expansions, a lot of different iterations, and this is kind of like a fresh start which works that all out. And show the big thing?
I'm going to show them the big thing. Yeah, this is a modular game system.
It is.
It's got a whole bunch of expansions that come in this huge chunky box.
So there's the huge chunky box that comes with the first 5 modules.
It comes with a whole bunch of modules, and then you've got the smaller, dinkier version for your shelves that has 2 modules available at retail, Jurassic and Flight. But we'll get into those a little bit later.
Yeah.
How does the game work?
Yes.
In nature, you are trying to establish some animal species and feed them, because if you don't feed them enough, they're going to go extinct, and that will be sad for everyone, but especially you, because you'll probably lose the game.
Although it's not that bad when they go extinct, as I found when I tried this game, and my animals kept going extinct.
Because you couldn't feed them enough plant. Yeah. So each round what you're going to do is you're going to grab a bunch of cards from this big deck, and all of these cards have different traits on them, but you might not necessarily use them for your traits, you might use them for other stuff, as we'll show a little later. Then you top up this watering hole with some food, and then you sort of have a free-form make your aminils better section of the game. Whoever has the first player marker, this ridiculous snow leopard, which I kind of love, will be the first to do stuff. And what you can do with these cards is you can either play them to increase the size of your species, which is this little dial over here. So right now my species is 1 size. The physical size of the aminil is only 1.
How big is that animal?
How big is your creature? So I might upgrade it from a 1 to a 2 by discarding a card.
Getting bigger.
Or you can add to its population, i.e. how many of the animal there are. So I could discard a card to make 3 of my 2 size plated animal.
It seems quite ridiculous that we have to be quite clear about, like, this is an animal getting bigger and this is an animal where there are more of that.
Yeah.
But it is an important distinction.
Very
in this
important.
Game. It's a lot easier in real life to just be like, that's 1 cow, that's many cow.
The other thing you can do with these cards, you can play them as traits, which means you put them face down on your animal, and then only when everyone's done do you reveal what those traits are. So it's kind of a surprise. Whoa, now I'm super mega plated, which might be good because one of the traits you can add is the hunter trait, which makes your species into a nasty hunter that might chomp on other species.
Predatoring on other creatures, just like the Predator in the film Predator.
Predator, you should watch it. It's cool.
So yeah, you're going to be building up these different animals with different traits, and then a lot of the game comes down to this watering hole, which is filled up with lovely leafy food for creatures that just want to eat leafy things.
Herbivores.
And then, as we say afterwards, there are creatures that maybe eat a bit of everything.
Yeah,
A
absolutely.
bit of omnivore or a bit of carnivore, which means they're going to be eating other creatures, but also sometimes just finding meat from the ether, finding meat from the world.
Free meat just lying around.
Yeah, you can have these weird little combos where you're not always either eating from here or eating other animals. You can be like, when this happens, this animal just gets some food. When this animal finds some food. A bit of scavenging here and there.
Yeah, it's all about generating like a little combo with your creatures in front of you, making a weird little synergistic engine that's going to get you a bunch of food, because ultimately food is points.
Yes.
The more food you get, the more points you get. You also get some points for having creatures alive at the end of the game.
Food you get, you're going to put behind a little screen. And then basically at the end of the game, how much food you got? The food is their points.
The food is their points. And how you get that food is very interesting. Like you say, you could either scavenge for leaves in the little pond in the middle, and you could go for a creature that there's lots of them, so they can be eaten by predators, but you've still got loads of backup, or you could just go for one mega beastie that's kind of the king of the watering hole, and it's all about just like taking big chunks out of a 3-sized tusked beast.
An omnibeast,
An omnibeast, exactly.
And yeah, the modules just break the game in all sorts of different ways. I think dinosaurs, they just allow you to go up to size 10.
Yes, we should go over that real quickly, because this is a modular game system. They've added a whole bunch of weird stuff you can do.
So Tom's brought dinosaurs.
I brought dinosaurs. The Jurassic module adds a whole new deck of cards that you can draw from instead of the basic deck of cards.
The Jurassic deck
has a Thagomizer.
Dinosaurs.
It's got dinosaurs. And yeah, you're right, the size dials are just way bigger. Your animal can go up to 10 size. It's all about being big, being invincible. The other one that's available at retail is the Flight expansion, which is a lot more passive, a lot more chill. You have little nests, and you put your size dial to show that it's a flying creature. And then at the end of the round, you might fly off to a little migration spot where you now live.
That is sweet.
And it also has its own deck of cards that you can pull from as well.
Yeah, it's lovely. Just like a neatening up of an old system. And I think it was definitely playing again and having that memory of what Evolution was like. Yeah, it's just a little bit.
What Evolution was like back in the day.
Remember what Evolution was like
when you were back in primordial soup? Lovely.
Oh, and that's nature.
That's nature. This is Ego, one of the 3 games in the Space Reiner Knizia trilogy from Bitewing Games. I think this is the middle of the 3. And it is a negotiation, auction-y, space-faring card game.
Yep.
It's a lot going on in this one. It's very strange.
It's very strange, but also fairly simple.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, it's pretty straightforward.
So you can see this is like a kind of pulpy, sci-fi looking comic book thing, which is awesome. But the way it works is this spaceship is just going to be moving through these panels. And each time you're in a panel, you're all going to do that action. Now there's some like repeating things here, which are, again, auction based, a lot of things. And if anywhere you see one of these round circles is going to be an auction, where you're going to be basically bidding cards to try and go earlier in choosing which of these actions you want. And you have all these discs, which are placed down and taken in terms of the order of how well you do in the auction, and then spent to cover up the things that you want, leaving some players with things, perhaps, that are just flat out bad.
Yeah, especially in this sinister system down here. If you're bad at the auction, then you're going to be losing stuff. And you want stuff.
But then in between, the spaces that you land on are just going to get you the opportunity to do something. Like, do you want to discard a card and draw some new ones? Do you want just to choose one of these resources? The 2 main types of actions you're going to be hitting, though, are these auction actions and then these risk spaces, highlighted by these big yellow triangles. If you see a yellow triangle, it means risk.
Absolutely. In the risk spaces, you're going to be pulling this many cards from the deck, and if you match these symbols, then you'll get to add them to your hand. And that's good, because cards sort of power everything in the game. But if you do not match all of the symbols, you're going to create outrage. You're going to be an impolite space ambassador, because that's what you're doing in this game. You're visiting all these different places, trying to be a nice space boy.
And these outrage tokens are just absolutely delightful lozenges of fun.
They are deluxe, I should point out.
Yes, please point out the deluxes.
But they're juicy, aren't they?
They're very juicy. It's, I know I'm not supposed to put them in my mouth, but I really, 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 really want to.
The more of these you have at the end of the game, the worse. So you want to try and avoid them where possible. And you're not just going to get them from these risk events, you also might get them in the sort of auction events. Here, players will play the matching symbols on their cards in order to increase their stake in the auction. And when you drop out, you take the lowest one of these little wedges to then place on this board and get a kind of worse reward, because the lower number you have, the earlier you get to go, so you might get the better thing. But also, what makes it spicy is that at any time during these auctions where you have to play these cards,
you can introduce an element of risk.
You can introduce a little bit of risk.
Come, Mr. Bond, let's make this interesting. I'm going to keep drawing cards from the poker deck until I get a hand I want.
Exactly. You can do exactly the same thing here, where you draw cards, and if you have matching symbols, amazing!
Did you set that
up? I did not. And then I just get to add them to my hand, and I can use them in the auction. Perfect. But let's try back again. No, I did get the right
perfect.
cards.
And another one?
This is kind of okay. It means that I'd take one of these problems, but I would get the matching card.
Yes.
If I got none of the correct symbols, then I would be out of the negotiation entirely, because I've made such a fool of myself. I've had to go home.
Yeah, the aliens think you're an idiot. You have to go home, which in the context of an auction is very bad, because it means whatever, you take the last piece.
Yes, you take the last piece, you're going to
get something bad.
You're going to get something bad. You travel through these boards, getting these bonuses, participating in these auctions until you eventually go home, where you cash in all of the leftover symbols that you have for sweet, sweet points.
Yep.
And this is where all that outrage you maybe accumulated costs you dearly.
Yeah, there's a little track that shows you, it's not so good to be angering aliens everywhere you go as you move through the galaxy. That's just a tip for you.
Just a tip for the people at home. Yeah, absolutely. There's all these power cards as well that you can get that give you weird one-off abilities. And there's this strange mini-game of picking up these currencies that you can then spend on other bits and bobs. And it's interesting, because these boards are like sort of modular. You can swap them around for different games to have them happen in a different order. Yeah. So if you have a big sinister system early on, you're going to be hemorrhaging stuff early. But if it's right at the end, if you don't have the stuff to give, then you're going to be in big trouble.
In case it wasn't clear, the sinister system. It's not a great place.
Yeah,
bad things happen there. Yeah. But yeah, as I say, because it has this kind of like comic book style thing, the nice thing about this game is you can see ahead very clearly what's going to happen. You can see the points where you're going to need certain cards, and you're going to see the places where you're going to be able to get resources that you currently don't have.
Yeah, you're going to be able to see the stretch where actually you might not get any cards, and so you're just relying on what you have to struggle through the auctions.
It gives you enough information to know that with the auctions, what can I afford to do here? And also, I do enjoy the slight wildness of, in the middle of an auction, just being able to keep drawing cards.
Yeah.
You might think, I've got this one cinched, and then somebody else might just keep drawing cards, and now they beat you, and that's ridiculous.
And you're maybe I should risk it. And then inevitably, when you risk it, you just fall flat on your face.
And that's games. And that's Ego.
That's Ego.
Welcome to Tenby. It's a real town in real Wales, but
real
also
life
now
Wales.
it's a cosy little game about building roads.
Yeah, a cosy little tableau builder, a Tenby builder. It's a new genre.
It's a new genre of build a specific town in Wales.
I can get into that if that's the new hot trend in
Honestly,
board games.
yeah.
So yeah, this is a really simple little sort of tableau builder. You're building out multiple little streets of Tenby in front of you. The way you're going to do this is with a really simple little action selection drafty mechanism. So you do a little night phase, then you do a day phase, then you do some cleanup.
Just like with real life.
Just like real
Although
life.
It feels like it's mostly night phase already and then clean up.
Whoa.
I gotta do the dishes.
So here, you are the purple player, Matt. You have your little thing on the number 1 night space, which means you are first to choose your day action.
Ooh.
Which one would you like to do?
I'm going to go for this one, purely on the basis that it has lots of symbols on it.
Yep,
which means it must be good.
It is good, because you get loads of things to do, whereas I might go here, and I get fewer things to do, but then next round, I'm going to be the first one to pick.
Because of the higher, lower number thing.
Exactly, and we'll deal out some more day
This
cards.
is my first board game rodeo.
It ain't. And these little actions will let you do various things to improve your little seaside town. For example, this little house icon means that you can take a little house from the market and put it into your tableau. Like that. And now I've made my street just a little longer. You can also get little piers like this, you can see down here, as well as landmarks, 1 per street, that offer you big scoring bonuses, because what you're trying to do here is make a little tableau that's going to score you a shed load of points.
Taking it. Oh, and the landmarks have a slight shine to them.
Oh, they do, don't they?
There's a slight spot gloss on the landmark.
Just a little bit of luxury on
Just
those.
a little bit of luxury on this. Very nice.
The thing that's really cute here, this is a detail that I really like, is like, for example, this one gives you 1 point per cloud, and this little white arrow means on adjacent ones. The double arrows mean 2 adjacent. There are golden ones that like look at your whole row.
Got it.
But this doesn't just mean a cloud's present, it's specifically the number of clouds, which I think is really sweet. So if it was here, I've got 2 clouds, I get 2 points. And there's also like the little birds can score you, so you're looking at the number of individual tiny features.
So it's kind of like you've got a little bit of a hidden object
Almost like a
puzzle
little, like a spot it, kind of like, oh yeah, I've got one of those.
That is very sweet.
It's very sweet. And also there's this nice thing where like some of your buildings, I've actually done a legal move here, because some of your buildings will have this little thing where they step down into a pier, and then you have to start building a pier instead, which kind of will sit on one sort of single layer. And ideally you want to sort of cap off your tableau on either ends with a pier, because you'll score more points if you make a sort of complete street. And you'll do this over 10 rounds, drafting out your things, having a nice little cozy time. On top of that, something that really surprised me with this is I saw in the
family
in the
rules.
box, I saw multiplayer rules, I saw family rules. And I went, oh, the family rules will just be a simpler version of the game, right? No, it's like a whole bunch of different games that you can play with the same set of cards and components. Like, for example, this one, you only need the house cards, the terrace cards, to play the game, and they have an ascending level of complexity, and they're not necessarily like little mini games to get you into Tenby. They're just like a little set of games that come with the same components, which I thought was fascinating. I've not seen that before.
It is fascinating. It's, I suppose, quite good for if you're on a family holiday.
Yeah.
You bring this along thinking this is going to be perfect, and then you start teaching it and start playing it, and you're like, actually, no, this is...
Your dad's eyes sort of gloss over.
And you go, let's just play a version of it that's different.
Yeah, and you're like, it says 8+ on the box, Dad. Come on now.
I've said that to too many dads, and it's weird because they're not my dad and I shouldn't call them dad.
You shouldn't.
But I'm still furious that they can't grasp a game for 8-year-olds.
That is Tenby, a delightfully little cosy tableau builder for 1 to 5 players.
Little roads and piers.
Making little roads and piers. What more could you want? Next up, we have another small box game from Mighty Boards, but this one is even smaller.
How is it so small, Tom? Is it just far away or is it really this small?
It's really this small. And you know what? This one is also about building a tiny Welsh town. It's not really. It's about Vikings.
Yeah, well...
It's about Vikings doing Viking things.
I don't know much about history, but maybe the Vikings did build some small Welsh towns.
Who knows?
Honestly, they probably did.
In this game, you are setting up little Viking raiding parties to try and take control of these outposts, because if you control an outpost, you're going to get 1 point in the first round, 2 points in the second round, 3 points in the third round. It's all to play for at the end of the Viking game.
It's to play for in the bonus Viking Crokinole round.
The way that this is going to work is on your turn, you are going to play 3 cards face down into a raiding party, and then we're going to go around the table taking actions, and those actions could be reinforcing your party by playing a face-up card and then flipping another one face-up, revealing sort of your intentions. If everything around the table is looking a bit spicy, then you might withdraw a
card, putting it back into your hand and saving it for later. Or you might use these glory tokens to buff up your cards and make them a little bit stronger, because at the end of the round, you're going to flip over your whole party, and then you're going to see who's got the most strength in each of the colours. Right here, because this is a ridiculous example, I'm just absolutely killing it.
Well, you're
over
demolishing
here.
it in most things.
You know what?
We're equal on purples, but you've got one more than me in the land of blues because you've got a
do.
special bonus hammer.
I've got a special bonus hammer.
I got a couple of bonus hammers myself, and they're real hammers.
If you win a particular suit, so I have one blue here, then I would take the blue outpost, I'd get myself a point, and I'd also get a little special ability. Each of them has their own ability. So the red one determines the turn order, the green one gives you a tiebreaker, this blue one over here makes your Jarls, which are these little Jarls. They'll give you little adjacency bonuses, and you can give them this special hammer to make that adjacency bonus even better. But also an important thing that I completely glossed over here is that when you choose to stop playing cards, when your party is big enough, when you've wagered enough of your force, that's when you get to take one of these muster groups on the table, buffing up your hand size for the next round.
Right.
So it is a first come, first serve basis. You might see something that you really want, scoop it from here, and that's especially important because in the second round, your groups are going to have these god cards in them that give you sort of game-defining powers. For the last round, which obviously doesn't have any muster parties, but that's where the big points are.
Yeah, an interesting thing you were talking about when you told me a bit about this game ahead of this video was the fact that obviously, if you have the most value of a type of thing at the end of the round, then you're going to take that disc and that power. Obviously, that points-wise, it's going to be worth more and more as the game goes on. But crucially as well, these then give you a value in the next round. So the red disc is going to give you a value of 3 red people.
So you're going to be really strong in all of the red combats, but if you think that you're really strong in the red combats, then maybe you might not collect red cards, which means other people might take that away from you. Oh, it's all to play for in the red north round. As well as this, if you contribute to a fight but you don't manage to win it, you get some of these little special hammer tokens, so it'll be more powerful in the next round, but also playing them as an action, so it puts you further away from passing and taking a group. Lots of interesting trade-offs in this one. Very cool. Thanks, mighty boards.
That's Red North.
That's Red North.
This is Deep Regrets, and today we're specifically looking at Even Deeper Regrets, the expansion, which is exclusively about me being in my early 20s.
Whee! Because you were doing Lovecraftian fishing down in the briny deep, right?
Yeah, London was a strange place.
Strange place indeed. This is a prototype version of the expansion, so if you see any fuzzy edges, then that is why. But in order to explain the expansion, we've got to explain the base game a little bit, right?
We do.
Yeah. It's a game about fishing, slightly pushing your luck, trying to either not go mad or lean fully into madness over the course of the game.
Just like being a real fisher person.
like being
it's
a
like,
real
am
fisher
I going to be a normal fisher person, or am I going to completely lose my marbles?
That's the game. The way that this works is each round you're going to roll these incredibly charming buoy dice.
Oh, yeah.
And then you are going to use those dice to take different actions, either at sea or at port. If you go down to the sea, then you're going to be dipping around in the waters to find a lionfish. Oh, that one's nice.
That's not an especially creepy
No,
fish.
that one's fine, but maybe if you go all the way down to the bottom, you might find a hollow earth infant, which is a little bit more creepy.
Yeah, that's not a fish.
That's not a fish.
I don't want that with
A lot of the
chips.
things down there aren't, strictly speaking, fish. I also really like this guy, the profound peddler, who's like a little merchant in a diving helmet that you find at the bottom of the sea. Kind of delightful. So yeah, you're fishing for these things down here. You're trying to make sure that you can haul them onto your boat so you can cart them back to port to either sell them or put them in your little trophy cabinet of prize catches.
Okay.
And then when you're at port, as well as selling your fish, you can then use the money to buy a whole bunch of extra little bits and bobs. You could buy extra dice from this little bag. Oh. Isn't that elegant? You can grab yourself some new reels, like this wooden brass reel over here. You could buy yourself supplies, like Halley's diving bell, or maybe you could get yourself a fresh new rod, like this trolling rod.
That's what I call a hot rod.
That's a hot rod.
Which is wrong, because hot rods are cars.
They're not fishing rods. But over the course of the game, if you catch some of these foul fish that are further down, then you're going to slip gently into madness, which is what this little tracker here shows you, because you're going to be accruing all of these regrets that are going to cost you points at the end of the game. They're going to make you go a little
Please
bit
excuse
crazy.
me while I slip into something a little more completely madness.
If you get to the bottom of this, then you get a discount at the shop, which I think is really funny.
All right.
Because they're just like, sure, take it.
Could you leave? Like,
Yeah, but on top of that, also you get more money for turning in weirder fish, basically.
Right.
So it matches your
They
madness.
get a sense of who you are.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
Like, it's that guy. Go through to the back, straight through to the back, please. Don't talk to the other customers.
Get in the good stuff. So that's the base game. You're going and doing some eldritch horror fishing down in the sea.
And you've got a gigantic clump of expansion-based things in this corner over here.
So this is even deeper regrets, and I just wanted to put it all out here to show you that it's just a whole bunch of extra cards that they've added into the game. So you can mix these with the existing cards. Like you can see here that this depth deck is like double the size of all these cards combined. You can just shuffle it in, or you can play with just the deeper regrets cards. And that's the same for like the supply, the shop, which has now got pets in it as well, like this scary looking pig.
Oh, Tolstoy the pot-bellied pig.
He could be on your boat.
This could be your pig.
This could be your very own pig. On top of this, there's also a kind of riskier board over here, woohoo, which is the river fishing board. There's a loch and a river that you can go to instead of going to the sea over here. And if you go to there, you might get yourself some delicious clout.
I kept seeing the word clout on the bag, and I had to remind myself that it's not a fish, that's trout. This is clout.
This is like a separate mini game you can play where you can become the most clouted angler on the seas today. If you get the most of it, you get a bunch of points. But if you don't get the most of it, then you are rendered into obscurity.
I thought you were going to stick to the most clouted angler, which sounds like something that you have on a police record.
It doesn't sound right, does it?
But they're perfect for a game about forbidden fish.
Absolutely. So that is Deep Regrets, game about fishing, and Even Deeper Regrets, the expansion for if you want to add even more fish to the scary fishing game.
This is Dirt and Dust. It's a deck builder. It's a dice roller. You're going to be trying to make cards go out and then use dice to activate them so that you can keep on track in the race and not get left behind. And doing so is going to get you points. Now Tom's going to explain the game properly.
This is interesting because it's like a rally racing game rather than a racing game. So rather than having like a board like something like Heat or something like Rallyman, everything's kind of played off board because you're sort of doing time trials.
Right, you're just trying to get like a good time.
Yes, exactly. It's a rally racing game for 1 to 4 players, and you're right, you're going to be deck building, you're going to be dice rolling, you're going to be trying to get the best time, racing around this track as fast as you possibly can. You're going to be doing 4 different phases, but the middle phase, the driving phase, is the one that matters the most, so we're going to skip straight to that. After you have rolled your dice and put them on your board in their little sockets, you're going to be simultaneously doing whatever you want from a little list of options.
And on mine as a demo, I've already done whatever I want.
He's already done whatever he wants. What you can do on your turn, simultaneously, everyone does their actions at the same time. You can play cards onto your little tableau in any of the open slots. You can buy new cards to go into your deck from the little shop over here, or you can resolve your cards based on if you've got a dice hovering above them, like a sort of speedy sword of Damocles. If you choose to resolve a card, you move the dice from the top to the bottom, and then you carry out all of the effects on that card. Now, of course, you can do some funky dice manipulation and move all your dice to one card and then go boom, 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 and just like rinse it as much as you fancy, which is cool.
But the wrenches that you're using to do that, to move these dice around so you can go boom, 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 combo, are also the same wrenches that you use to spend on cards to upgrade your deck.
Absolutely.
It's a decision.
It's a decision, and we love decisions.
I do love decisions.
What you're fundamentally trying to do with these dice and these actions, there's a lot of different actions you can take. I'm not going to explain all of them just to keep it simple. What you're mostly trying to do is map out the course in front of you. So you can see we've got this stage here. It's made up of 10 cards total, and they kind of slide down this little rack as you race along the course. And what you're going to do is you're going to spend traction points to put your little navigation tokens on the cards to say, I've done this bit of the course, well done me.
I did it, I made it. And I guess presumably you can put multiple ones so you can keep ahead of the game?
Yes, absolutely. You can stay ahead of the curve by mapping out all of these different tracks ahead of you.
Inevitably at the end of the round, as it slides down, if you haven't got a clock on it, then it means you're not making the good time.
You're not going to get any points.
You're not making the good time, Colin McRae.
Yeah, when these cards slide off, you're going to score points, and you're going to score points based on where your car is on this little personal player board. So right now, I'm right in the middle of the road, I'm zooming, which means I'm going to get myself 4 entire points when that card slides off. But inevitably, you're going to end up drifting around the course, and then you'll get different numbers of points.
Whoa, my car has gone wobbly bobbly.
If you're like decelerating decelerating, you'll get fewer speed points, whereas if you're accelerating down the middle of the road, you'll get loads. But here's what I think is kind of fun. If you're on the edges of the board in the red zone, you don't score speed, you instead score popularity, which means you got this little track here, and the person with the most popularity gets the popularity dice. It's an extra dice that you get to add to your pool and roll, which is really nice.
Okay.
Roll the popularity dice.
It's a 2.
Just to feel something.
I'm too popular now.
He's too popular. The other thing that's going to happen when you map out these bits of track is that you can see these little arrows here are going to slide you around the course. So that's how you end up moving around. The thing is, if you map out too many in advance, you might end up bumping off the side of the track, which means you take one of these hazard die and you add them to your pool of dice that you're going to roll.
Right.
And that's going to happen every single round until you repair them. And as you accrue more hazards, your car starts breaking. So the first one over here means that your car is just going to move an extra space every time you move. So you slide around the track a little more.
Okay.
The next one means that all the cards cost more wrenches, then more traction. Then you get your hand size gets decreased. It's brutal being a fast racer boy.
That's nice. So it's like each of the things is a step of like
degradation.
Problems.
Yeah,
New
exactly.
problem just dropped.
Yeah, and then at the end of the round, all your cards slide down one space, so you only end up having them in your discard pile to cycle your deck once they've all ended up off the board, which is interesting. On top of that, each person also has their own racer card that's going to add their own little abilities, so there's a bit of asymmetry there. For example, Harry Jordan, my guy, he likes putting cards up in the 5 and 6 slots, which is great. Because the cards are powerful.
And I'm Sofia Fernandez.
Yes.
Do I do something that involves getting rid of problems?
I'm all about having cards high up here, so I want to look for cards that will bin them off. You're all about making problems. Your character interacts with the hazard dice in all kinds of fun ways.
I can relate.
Yeah, and there's 4 of them in the box, and you can mix and match them with all kinds of different cards. This is just a very basic setup, but you can do a load of stuff.
And that's Dirt and Dust.
Dirt and Dust. That's my car.
Rowdy Partners. This is Rowdy Partners, a game in which you are going to be doing wrestling.
Yes.
In a Western theme.
Yeah, I love the setting for this game. It's like the Wild West, but instead of solving their disputes with gunslinging, they smack down in a wrestling ring. And you and me are going to be playing a 2 to 4 player, head-to-head, trick-taking, tag team wrestling game. That's a lot of words, I know, it's very confusing. But it's actually not, it's really simple, because it's just a tag team trick taker.
Yeah, I've got to be honest, I've got a little bit distracted here, Tom, by the fact that the boards...
Are 2 boards?
The boards are 2 boards that slot together in the middle. And not only do they slot together in the middle, but they slot together with the little bits that they use to strap their clothes together tight. What are they called?
Laces?
Laces.
Oh.
I thought there was a more technical word for it, but no, you're right. It's just laces.
Just laces. Yeah, if you would be playing this as a 4-player game, I think that's sort of the most preferred way to play, then you would be having a board of your own and you slot it with your partner's board and then you sit side by side across the ring from the other 2.
Nice.
Because we're doing tag team wrestling. And this is a trick-taking game, so what you're going to do on your turn is you're going to play a card from your hand. And I might lead a 7, and then you must follow with a card from your hand.
Okay.
One team will go 1st and 4th, and the other team will go 2nd and 3rd. So your team will play 2 cards in a row back to back.
Well, it's a must follow, and I can't follow. So I'm going to play this card, a yellow 8.
Wow! And then you'd play another card.
I can do that. Oh, but this character can follow. Whew, I wish I hadn't spent such a high good card on that last one. I mean, I'm acting like I understand the rules. Maybe what I'm doing here is great. I don't know.
This is a beautiful example, actually, because what you've just done is you've created a counter, although you've countered yourself, which might be a little bad. But basically, if 2 numbers that are the same are ever next to each other, they get flipped face down because they got countered. And so they would be removed from the trick-taking game. But let's say that didn't happen.
Let's pretend it didn't.
Let's say that didn't happen. Let's say you played this 1, and then I finish us up with a 5. Your 8 wins, right? No! The lowest card played in the trick wins, or the lowest suited card. So here, this green 1 would win. Oh, it's you again!
It's me!
Congratulations!
Congratulations, me. I'm the winner.
The winner of the trick deals that much damage to whoever on the opposite team is currently in the ring, which means whoever's in the middle here. So here, the lawman, the top rope champ, will be receiving 1 damage. But obviously, if you manage to play a higher lowest card, you would be dealing more damage at once. But then the winner of the trick, in this case, let's say it was Dynamite, will then become... They'll go into the ring, and you will take the role of leading the next trick. So you're kind of constantly cycling your 2 wrestlers in and out of the fight whilst trying to make sure that you're dealing damage to your opponent, because if you ever get them to the bottom here, then they lose.
So you just want to get one of them down?
Just one of them out. It's a tag team wrestler. If one of them gets pinned in the bottom here, then they lose. The other thing that happens when you play cards is you might notice these little black arrows on the side here. Whenever you play a card with arrows, you bump up your little track here to earn these special little tokens, which will give you benefits in the fight. Either these sort of generic bonuses that can sort of apply to anyone, like these +1 or -1 chits over here, but you also might unlock your own little special ability, which only your wrestler can do. So the Lawman lets them modify their cards, or the Wretch over here lets you choose from multiple tokens when you would just pull one blindly.
I'm enjoying the fact that, as I pointed out at the start, these things called laces that you use to tie up things real tight, it means that the track you have is kind of both of the characters unlocking things at the same time.
Yeah, back and forth. It's real cute.
Back and forth. That's neat.
Now, this is what happens in the 4-player game. You've got these 2 wrestlers per team. But what happens if you only have 3 or 2 players? Well, then someone plays as a headliner, which I love because they've got a board that's just way bigger than one of the characters. But not only do they play as the headliner, they also play alongside their manager, which is just a smaller, like, squatter version of the board that sits over here. And it gives them a sort of separate pool of cards to pull from. Essentially, you get this sort of like cluster of cards that you can play directly from. And you can either play as these in a 2v1 3-player game, or you can both play as a headliner if you're going head-to-head.
Yeah.
That's Rowdy Partners, a tag team wrestling trick-taking game.
It's got it's not a dinosaur. It's got it wrong. It's got a donkey.
It's got a donkey.
And the donkey's called Dynamite, and the donkey has dynamite in its mouth.
That's quite scary.
This is PNW, short for Pacific Northwest. And it is a collection of games inspired by the Pacific Northwest, which is a place in America.
In America? Yes. There's a whole bunch of different card games in this little book that we've got over here. Each one kind of designed to introduce a different mechanic in a strange way. So what we're looking at here is Trail, which is a game of drafting. But there are also games in here like Forage, which is all about set collection. There's a game called Orca Isles, which is kind of a worker placement game. And they're all played with a deck of cards and a bunch of tokens. There are these special tokens that sort of came with our copy of the game that are all nicely themed, but you can use whatever tokens you want, really. And you can use whatever cards you want. But look at this, isn't it? A nice little tuck box, and aren't they nice cards?
They are nice cards, and they've got pictures of things that are presumably from the Pacific Northwest.
Like mushrooms.
And dog.
I thought they were both from Super Mario, but
2
turns
wolves.
out they're in... 2 wolves are on your card. Both are like in dignity.
There are 2 wolves inside of your cards.
So rather than previewing all of the games in this book, because that would take ages, we're instead just going to show off Trail, which is one of the games in the series. This is a card game where at the start I have got rid of all of the jokers, and I have separated the jacks and the kings and the queens. You can see them here face up on the table. If a card is horizontal, it's a face card. If a card is vertical, then it is a numbered card.
Oh.
And what we're going to do is we are going to start off the game with a little draft. You choose one card, and then you pass your hand.
Okay, well, I'm going to choose this one, and then you can have this, and I'll have this.
And then we're done.
What?
No, normally you draft the whole thing, but we're just going to do one
Yeah, I
card
was
just
going
to
to
keep
say.
it simple.
I was like, you've tricked me. This isn't drafting. You've just stolen my cards.
You draft out all of the cards, and then in turn order, you choose an ace from the little pile of aces. I think you want the ace of clubs.
Yes,
and I think I want the ace of diamonds. Once you're done with the drafting, it's time to ascend up the trail. And the way you're going to do this is you're going to move your little token onto a card and then flip it, revealing it for everyone around the table. I've come up against the 4 of diamonds.
4 of diamonds, a
over here.
classic card.
Classic, just a primo card. If I want to surpass this card and continue up onwards through the trail, I must play 1 or more cards from my hand of this suit that exceed its value. So I could play, like, for example, a 2 and a 3 would get me past this.
Right.
If at least one of them was of diamonds. Or I could just play, say, the 7 of diamonds. And then I would go, hop, up here, and I have passed that thing. And that card is then, this is a heart, but pretend it's a diamond. It's then gone, like, for good, basically.
Oh, okay.
You are sort of shedding these are supplies.
You spent it. Oh, you spent it to get up that bit of hill, and now it's gone.
And now it's gone.
You've eaten that mushroom, now it's gone. But that's not true, because the mushrooms and the orcas and the wolf dogs are just on these face cards.
Yes,
and aces.
these face cards are landmarks, which are a little bit spicier to try and get through. So this jack over here is, I think it counts as having a value of 15. So you'll need to play some pretty spicy cards in order to get through it. But you can also, instead of playing numbered cards to get over, any pair of the suit will also let you hop over the card.
Right.
Or just 3 cards of any suit, you can just bin those.
Right.
So there's kind of grades of efficiency of how you want to navigate
so
up the
pairs,
mountain.
the value doesn't matter. It's
Pairs,
just,
yeah, exactly.
just the specifics.
Okay, absolutely. And then the more of these cards you manage to clamber past, the higher your score is going to be at the end when we sort of count up all the points. The landmarks are worth a few more points. These ones are worth some points along the way, and everything you have left in your hand is also worth points. So the most efficient climber is going to get a bunch of points at the end. There is one little wrinkle though. I said that these cards, when you get rid of them, or when you play them, they're gone for good, right?
Yeah.
But
You lied to me?
I lied to you, Matt, for effect.
Oh, that's okay then.
If you're a trailblazer, if you're the first person to cross a card, revealing it for everyone, then you're going to get to pick up one of the cards from anyone's discard after they've climbed. So you might draft something that someone else is going to use to climb up a certain piece of mountain, and then you poach it later on to get yourself through a tricky pass later on. There's some little layers to it, which I think are kind of cool.
Okay, picking up other people's bags of trail mix.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can get past that big double fish card.
I like the idea that they're just sort of eating an apple along the way and they leave the core behind and you're there like...
I'll have that, it's good.
Yeah, exactly.
It's still good. It's got seeds in it.
That's
Seeds are good for growth.
That was a pitch-perfect impression of what people in the Pacific Northwest are really like.
Yeah, they all sound like that. I love wolves.
Exactly. That's one of the games in the set. There's a whole bunch of other ones. Like I said, Forage is a game about picking mushrooms and doing set collection. There's a sort of intro to deck building game in there. There's a solo game.
Yeah.
There's one that's sort of a team-based trick taker.
It's a beautiful book as well.
Gorgeous, isn't it?
It's got a lovely kind of lacy gold cover to it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Our copy came with this waxen bag that apparently is locally made, and it just feels really nice.
Yeah, that's just a bag.
That's just a bag.
That doesn't come with the game. That's just like they just send Tom a bag.
Yeah, you can kind of hold your cards in it like
Yeah, you're
this.
using it like an oven mitt.
Like a delicious, waxy oven mitt. That's
Yeah.
PNW.
Yeah, well done, Tom. Yeah, I'm proud of you.
I really nailed it with this one, didn't I?
And finally, in our card games video, we have 3 chapters. This is a game that takes place over 3 different little sort of miniature card games in a way.
3 sections of the game.
Almost chapters, if you will. You're going to do a set collection chapter, you're going to do a trick-taking chapter, and then you're going to do a little tableau scoring chapter.
It's a funny old game.
It is a funky old game. It's got a nice little fairy tale theme.
It does.
Tell us how it works, Mr. Matt.
So the way this game works is, as Tom alluded to, you're going to have these cards, and at the start of the game, you're going to be drafting them between other players. So you can see we've got the Snow Queen, we've got the Fairy Godmother, we've got everyone's favourite dumb egg, Humpty Dumpty.
I've got a giant.
Yeah, that's really good, Tom. I'm really proud of you.
It's so big you just got foot.
Yeah, so big, all you can see is foot. Now, these numbers are really important because basically after we've gone round and drafted our little hand of cards, we are going to play a trick-taking game. And a trick-taking game is very simple.
Highest
basically.
number wins.
Highest number wins.
That's why I picked my foot.
So you play a giant for the foot. Oh no, I can't beat that, so I'm going to play Queen of Hearts, 37. Seems like a bit of a waste of a 37, but hey, that's the name of the game. Everyone's going to go around playing cards, and then, oh no, this fictional character here has played the dragon, which means they've won the set.
And
right?
they get a little star.
And they get a star, which is worth 2 points. Hooray.
2 points.
Crucially though, this is the thing that's difficult, is you don't take all of these cards now. It's not like a traditional trick taker where you go, oh, I'm going to have all of these cards.
It's a trick
No,
doer.
It's a trick doer. You do not take the tricks.
You just
then
do 'em.
take the cards that you spent back into your own personal discard. Because, crucially, at the end of the game, it's going to be a little set collection thing where you're going to look at all of the cards you have. So you'll have 8 at the end of the game, and you're going to basically then look through what those cards do, and they're going to score you more points.
For example, my fairy godmother over here gets me a heart, which is worth 1 point for every little crown symbol I have, and therefore this Snow Queen is going to get me a point at the end of the game. But you'll also notice the Snow Queen had an ability during the trick-taking. So some things you want to draft for the trick-taking, some you want to draft for the end of the game.
Yeah, and a lot of things do both. So the Ogre, for example, has a thing where it gets a gem for each little paw card being played. And that means that that'll score you at the end of the game if you have the Ogre and a bunch of characters that have paws, but also if you play it in a round where people have already played those cards in the trick-taking bit, it will score then.
There's also a few specific cards, like there's Tweedledum and Tweedledee, who only earn points if they're played in the same trick or if you have them in a set at the end.
Yes.
So you kind of want to make sure that both of them are in the game, so you might see that in the drafting.
Yes, it's pretty neat, I think, that all of the characters are fairy tale characters, which means you have an innate understanding of generally what their vibe might be. Like you know that if you see Snow White, and then you see a bunch of dwarves, that you want to collect loads of dwarves. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's probably just going to get you points.
Just makes sense.
It's just how nature it works. So yeah, that's a little bit of an overview of 3 chapters. A slightly finickety but very interesting little trick-taking game.
3-chapter trick-taking game.